Hello, welcome to School's Not Out, your daily classroom for CSEC and CAPE students. You can watch this lesson real-time on TVJ Jamaica's YouTube channel or on onespotmedia.com. We are also live on Music 99 and gojamaica.com.
If you have questions on today's subject, CSEC English language, you can send them in to TVJ Jamaica's Facebook page or Instagram at television_Jamaica. Today's lesson is on expository writing. I am Natisha Lindsay.
And I am Sharika Powell-Easy. Now today, we are going to take you to CSEC English language. And we are going to be looking at section B of the CSEC English A syllabus. We're going to be going through the objectives, and these objectives were taken from the CSEC English syllabus 2018.
Our first objective is to recognize facts stated explicitly.
We will also look at how we extract implied information,
to identify stated or implied sequences,
and how we communicate factual information clearly, concisely, and accurately. So, Natisha, what happens in CSEC English A section 2?
CSEC English A section 2 deals with expository writing.
Oh, expository. So in this section, we're expected to inform and expose people to information.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so in keeping with our syllabus, let me take you through what CSEC English A syllabus requires. All right, so section 2 consists of one compulsory question, informative discourse. This question will require candidates to respond to given stimulus material. The response may take the form of an email, letter, notice, or article.
The question will change from year to year, but will focus on the skills of communicating factual information concisely. Please remember that even though we have email, letter, notice, or article, there's also the tendency sometimes to include the report.
Yes, very good. So all of these sections, they are required on section 2, and they will change yearly or depending on CXC. All right, so today's lesson, we're going to be focusing on memos. We're going to be looking at emails. We're going to be looking at a letter of complaint, and we are going to also look at a simple report.
Okay, for expository, definition says expository writing, also known as exposition or informative writing, is a type of discourse used to describe, to explain, to inform, to define, or clarify. It literally means to expose, to put things out there so that people can see it clearly.
Okay. All right. So when we are engaged in exposition and when students are at section 2 of the paper, what are they expected to do?
They're expected to provide an explanation of a specific topic. They're expected to teach readers about the topic.
More importantly, they're expected to give facts, because remember, expository writing is also factual and informative writing. So they're expected to give reasons, explanations, provide examples with supporting details.
And they're always required to include a main idea, logical reasons, and as Sharika just said, sufficient supporting details and a conclusion.
Very good. And in formal language, it should be written in formal language and in a precise, logical manner. So whatever you write, the information cannot be disseminated all over the place. There should be some level of coherence with whatever you write.
So the purpose of the exposition, Sharika, what is that?
Well, we know that readers or writers write with different purposes in mind. But when we look at the expository section, we're not going to be amusing anybody. So we're not trying to be funny here, right? We are expected to enlighten and instruct, because remember, this is informative in nature.
Again, the objectives of the exposition is to explain and analyze information, that is by presenting an idea, give relevant evidence and appropriate discussion. Therefore, if you are writing, you must not just present your point and leave it at that. You must develop the argument so that if you have a problem, you explain how it started, when it started, logically.
Yes, and it should be clear. We talk about clarity. So when you write, we should not, or you do not want people trying hard, long and hard to figure out what it is you're trying to say.
Straight to the point.
It should be clear, the information should be accurate, get to the point. Don't bother to beat around the bush.
Very good.
Good. All right. So again, what happens in expository writing?
It is important that you recognize that it is to provide information, but you must not try to get the writer's feelings or views in it. So when you are writing, do not include your emotions, what you want, and take emotions out of it. Be as objective as possible and deal with the facts.
So does that mean that I can't use emotive words and play on somebody's conscience and emotions?
No, you are not supposed to. This is not persuasion, no. This is, remember, to present it, to expose it, to tell it as it is.
Oh, so facts.
Factual.
Oh, so it's factual information is key. All right, so earlier we spoke about not playing on persons' emotions. Therefore, it is important for us to know the difference between the persuasive writing and expository writing, because when we are doing exposition, we are not persuading anybody, right?
No, we're not.
We're providing facts. So let us look at the difference between persuasive and expository briefly.
All right, so for the persuasive writing essay, you should choose a position or a point of view about a topic. So in this essay, you have the option of giving how you feel, your idea, your side.
Okay, and for the exposition, you're going to be exploring a topic in a neutral way. So no hard feelings.
No side.
Okay.
All right. Secondly, for the persuasive writing, you present your argument in a thesis statement. So immediately you allow your reader to see where you are going in the essay as you continue.
And in the exposition, you present your topic in a logical, coherent step. So there should be some coherence. It must flow. The information should flow. So we cannot go from step C and then go to step A. We should start at?
You should start at
step
A,
then
B,
C, D, A, B, C.
Exactly. All right. And then for the persuasive writing, you can write in the first person.
For exposition, you can also write in the first person, except for like notices. So when we give notices and stuff like that, you tend to say you are for those kind of advertisements and stuff. Yes. And
for the persuasive, you can be subjective.
And for expository, be objective.
Right.
Okay, so in keeping with CSEC, and remember we're looking at section 2, which is the expository section, and we already pointed out that you can be given letters to write. Now, we're going to be looking at letter writing, but specifically, we're going to be looking at letters of complaint. So, have you ever written a letter of complaint before? Has anyone ever troubled you or rubbed you the wrong way, where you
That is
need
a
to
rhetorical
address?
question. So I will just say that I have written a letter of complaint many times.
But why write a letter when you could just go over to your neighbor's house or go to the store and just create this hullabaloo and just tell them exactly how you feel?
No. You see, a letter is a record.
Oh.
And so if I write a letter of complaint, I have a record to say, oh, something, you did something, my neighbor did something to me. And I say, Miss Maisie, you know that the dog came over to the house. Miss Maisie can say at the end of the day that I never said anything to her. But when I have my letter to present, it is my evidence.
Oh, but you could record it on your social media and just record on your phone. That would be record.
In the court of law, that might not be admissible.
Okay, point taken. All right, so have you ever had to make a formal complaint?
Yes, I have.
All right, so a letter of complaint is a type of letter written to address any type of wrongdoing, offense, grievance, resentment arising out of a product, service, etc.
These letters are used to raise your concerns about unfair things and to seek a productive outcome.
So if you go to any store and you bought an item and let's say, for example, yes, it malfunctions, then instead of
putting up the placards and telling everybody that they sell me bad goods
and going on social media,
I just write them a letter to say I have a problem, please resolve it.
Okay. All right. Now, when we write our letters of complaint, there are some things we should note. The letter should be clear and concise. To the point.
Straight to the point. State exactly what you want done and how long you're willing to wait for a response. That is important because you cannot have a problem and not tell the person what is the solution you are looking for and how long you are waiting for that solution. And therefore, when you do that, you give them a time to work with and therefore they will expect that after that time, you will come back with another response. It might be another letter reminding them of the previous letter, or it might be some other recourse.
Okay, so in that case, don't write an angry, sarcastic, or threatening letter. So remember, it is formal and the tone should also be formal. So we're going to be respectful now.
Okay, include copies of relevant documents like receipts, work orders, and warranties. This is very important because even in our everyday lives, we must remember that when we purchase something, not necessarily food and such, but when we purchase appliances and such, vehicles, we should keep our receipts so that if there's any problem, we can pull those receipts as a supporting evidence for our complaint if there's a problem.
That's true. And don't forget to include your name and contact information.
Yes, and when Sharika says name and contact information, she is speaking about the name that is on your birth paper.
Not Punji?
No, not Putus. No.
Bobo?
No.
All right.
Natisha Lindsay.
Okay, Sharika Powell, easy.
That's the name.
Understood. All right. So most times students complain about not knowing how to start the letter of complaint. Remember that this is a formal letter, so you cannot just start by saying, hello, how are you? You all right? And stuff like that.
No. You should start by saying things like, I am writing to complain about.
I'm writing to express my concern about the fact that.
I must complain in writing about.
I feel I must complain to you about.
I wish to complain in the strongest terms about.
All right, so those are some ways that you can start your letters of complaint. Now, in that letter, or in those letters, these are some important phrases that you can use. So you can talk about the poor standard of service or the slow service that you have been experiencing.
Okay, you can talk about no accommodation or travel delays, or rather rude staff that we also experience on a daily basis.
Yes, badly scratched or dented wrapping packages.
Or we can say to claim or demand for a refund.
Or we can talk about the defective clock, faulty goods, defective items or machines. So those are some of the phrases that can come up in the letter.
Another thing that students are not so familiar with is how to end the letter of complaint. And so we can say, I do not usually complain, but as an old customer, I am sure you will be interested in my comments here. Being as an old customer, you are showing this agency, this company, the relationship that you have been having with them. So you have a right now to complain to them as, listen, we have a friendship coming up, and so I want to maintain that. So as an old customer, this is my problem.
Good. We can also say we look forward to dealing with this matter without delay.
Or I feel that your company should consider an appropriate refund.
Or I would be grateful if you would send me a complete refund as soon as possible. Money back.
Or will you please look into this matter and let us know the reason for.
Okay, thank you for your assistance.
I look forward to hearing from you at your earliest convenience.
I am returning the damaged goods items and shall be glad if you will reply promptly.
When you are, as Sharika said earlier, the letter of complaint is a formal letter.
Yes.
We know that when we are writing letters, formal letters, we have two styles, the block format and the semi-block format. Presently, most persons are using, it's the normal accepted form now to be using the block. And so the block format would be that format that you have
everything coming down on
everything
your left.
On this, the left side of the margin. That would be the block format. Semi-block would be,
so you can have the
your personal address here, right, and then you continue with, and then you do your complimentary close there.
And remember too that with a formal letter, it would basically require two addresses. So if you're using the semi-block, you can have your address here. If you're using the block format, then you would have your address at the top left-hand corner, and then the inside address, which would have been the company, yes, address.
All right, so the block format is typically used for business letters, as we just said. And in the block format, the entire text is aligned left and single space. The exception to the single spacing is a double space between paragraphs rather than indent.
Okay. How to organize your letter of complaint. So on your top left hand, you would have your address, your date, so that your address, the date, so the name of the contact persons, their title. So if I'm writing a letter to, say for example, somebody at courts, if you know the name of the person, then you would state the name of the person. So Miss Natisha Lindsay, the title, you say Miss Natisha Lindsay, the manager, the company's name, Courts Jamaica Limited. What department are you, Miss?
I am in sales.
In sales department, and you give the address, the street address. All right? Then you have your greeting or salutation there, and then you can have a re, and the re would have outlined what you are, the problem, what you will be addressing, and then you can go ahead and start the letter. So on the date, put a date, I bought, name of the product, and the location of the place, and then you go ahead, you talk about, unfortunately state what happens, and then you say how you think they could solve the problem.
It's also important to note, students, that when you are at the point of name of product and location, if it is possible to get the name of the person, the service agent, the sales agent that you dealt with when you were purchasing the item. That is important to include also.
Okay. All right. So in closing, I look forward to your reply. Remember that you have your sincerely, yours truly, respectfully. You have your signature and your name at the end.
All right.
All right. So we're going to be looking at an example of a letter of complaint, and this was taken from the CSEC English syllabus 2018, and this came directly from our specimen paper. So study the situation presented below and then answer the questions that follows. You purchased an item from a supermarket. On arrival home, you noticed that the expiry date had passed. You attempted to return the item, but you were told that it was on sale and the manager refused to give you a refund or replacement. Write a letter to a consumer protection group or the editor of a newspaper in which you complain about the quality of the product and treatment you received. Your answer will be assessed on how well you formatted your letter, select relevant and complete information, organized and express the information in your letter, use the appropriate grammar, sentence structure, vocabulary, spelling, and punctuation. Your letter must be in continuous prose. Make sure to include all the details that would help in highlighting the matter.
All right, your letter should include details of the complaint, for example, the date and time of purchase, the cost of the item, specific condition of the item, and the response of staff. And this will be marked out of 30.
Okay, so let's quickly get to the sample. Be careful to look at the organizational structure. So, for example, number 67, Happy View, St. James, October 12, 2014. So we have our address and our date. Then we have our inside address, the manager, the Fair Trade Commission, Green Hill, Barbados. Dear Sir, Madam,
I write to complain against Bestline Supermarkets, from which I purchased a box of cereal on October 10th, 2014. I have two areas of concern: the treatment I received and the quality of the product. The item was on sale and I paid $245 for it. On arrival home, I realized that the product had expired since September. I returned the package with the bill and was directed to speak with the supervisor. He simply said that it was my duty to check any product I wanted to buy. I went to the manager, explained the issue, and expressed my disappointment. I also requested a refund, but he too told me that I should have checked the date before making the purchase. In addition, he said that their policy is no exchange or refund on sale items. He promised to speak to his colleague, then he dismissed me and went to the phone. I believe this treatment is unjust and would like you to intervene to rectify this matter. Yours sincerely, Adia Rogers.
So if we notice, all the elements were there, the address,
except
was
for and the title, but that does not mean that this letter isn't properly written, even though when you were getting the instruction earlier, there was a title to say we could have included that, but sorry, it's not there.
But if you do not include it, it's not a problem.
Detrimental to your mark.
All right. So quickly, we're going to be looking at memos.
Short for memorandum, a memo is a type of document used to communicate with others in the same organization. It is a form of internal communication. I want you to note that a memo can be sent from anybody within the organization. So it's not specific to any one particular office or title or position, but anybody in an organization can send a memo. It's internal.
All right, so the format of the memo is very simple. You write memo or memorandum at the top, followed by a two-line. So you have your memo, to, from, a date line, a subject line, and then the actual body of the message that you are writing. And then the person writing the memo would then affix his or her signature beside his or her name at the bottom line. And also note that a memo does not require an address. And remember that this is usually sent from within organizations. All right, so a memo is used when privacy in an office is not a major consideration. All right, so we'll go quickly to,
sample memo.
Okay.
So here you see, it says to whoever we're sending it. So we say that we're at TVJ.
Yes.
And so we say to staff at TVJ. From Natisha Lindsay, date the 6th of April 2020, and the subject, schools not out, issues. And so we will get into the appropriate, whatever information that I want to send them. I will now write it here. Dear staff, please note that this is supposed to be at 8 o'clock and it's now 8:50 and I am still waiting on some communication.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay, good. So that is the format. We're going to look quickly at emails.
Okay. Now, everybody is in this technological world, and so it is easy now not to write a letter, but to send an email, fast delivery.
Yes.
So emails are messages distributed by electronic means from one computer or device to another, to one or more recipients via a network.
So you can send to one person or you can send to
and what you must note in the emails, because I know that you are very au fait and you know how to write your emails. So you write to, there's always a subject line. Many persons don't put the subject line in their emails, but you should. So you can say to, and you send it to whoever you want. Miss Jenkins. All right, and then what I want to bring across is the CC. This is carbon copy, and this is so that the person that you are writing, Miss Jenkins, knows that you are sharing the email with somebody else. But there's also BCC, which is blind carbon copy. This means that when Miss Jenkins gets this email, she will not know that I have also sent it to Sharika Powell Easy.
Okay, so quickly, there should be a subject line, and you have to be specific and concise, get to the point, say what the subject is, the salutation, address the recipient by name if possible. Then there's the body, and the section will explain the main message of the email, and then there is a signature. And this is what a sample email looks like. All right, so you have your email address, CC, from James Brown, then there's a subject, then your greeting, then the body, and then your closing. All
right, so we are at the simple report.
Okay.
And so we will pick up when we return
from our break with this simple report.
Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with a cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
CSEC and CAPE lessons live Mondays to Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon with weekly Schools Not Out tutorial sessions on Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Schools Not Out, live CSEC and CAPE lessons here on TVJ. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, along with TVJ, present Schools Not Out, CSEC and CAPE lessons live Mondays to Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon with weekly Schools Not Out tutorial sessions on Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Schools Not Out, live CSEC and CAPE lessons here on TVJ. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information.
Protect yourself and others from getting sick by washing your hands after coughing or sneezing, when caring for the sick, before, during, and after you prepare food, before eating, after toilet use, when hands are visibly dirty, and after handling animals or animal waste. COVID-19 tip: protect yourself and others from getting sick by washing your hands after coughing or sneezing, when caring for the sick, before, during, and after you prepare food, before eating, after toilet use, when hands are visibly dirty, and after handling animals or animal waste. COVID-19.
Along with TVJ, present Schools Not Out, CSEC and CAPE lessons live Mondays to Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon with weekly Schools Not Out tutorial sessions on Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Schools Not Out.
Welcome back to Schools Not Out, your daily classroom for CSEC and CAPE subjects. We've been talking about expository writing in CSEC English language.
Okay, so we're going to continue with the simple reports. And I know that at school, sometimes there are incidents at school and students are asked to write simple reports or incident reports.
Incident reports.
But do we only write simple reports at school, Natisha?
No, we have to write reports all the time because there are things things will happen. And so we need to give a view of what we have witnessed.
So even if you are at work and there is an incident, most times you have to write reports. Okay. So let's take you through the report. So a report is a short, concise document which is written from a particular purpose, for a particular purpose and audience.
It generally sets out to analyze a problem or situation, often making recommendations for future action.
It is a factual paper and needs to be clear and well structured.
So when you're organizing your report, you start from the scene, exactly the spot that the thing happened. So the first part of your report is mental. So you start to organize your thoughts and observations.
You think in 6 categories. So you think about yourself, who is the writer of the report, the victims, the witnesses, suspects, evidence, disposition.
Record information promptly and accurately.
And that is extremely important because remember, it's a report and you are giving an account of something that took place. So you want to ensure that you are accurate as possible. And if you need to quote,
you use quotation marks for someone's words, exact words. Remember.
Okay. All right. Considerations for writing a simple report. Writers of simple report should aim at recording information objectively. So you should not just write what you want to write. Or you don't like the person, so you make things up.
You should also exclude all opinions, preferences, and judgments. And you notice, Sharika, that for all of these, we have done the letter of complaint, we have done emails, and now we're at the simple report, and they all say the same thing. Exclude all opinions, preferences, and judgments.
And the report should be based on factual information. So again, we're speaking facts, informative information, factual information.
For more complex reports, the writer may be asked to include recommendations and conclusions based on evidence. So guidelines to help you organize your report. One, the report should contain an address or state who it is being addressed to.
The subject of the report should be written above.
And the subject is the same thing as the title. The introduction should contain purpose, scope, and terms of reference.
And for complex reports, the content should be arranged under sections and headings.
What do you mean by complex reports?
If it is one within an organization that it's a big one, you have to give a lot of information.
So
it's
an
more
organization
detailed.
that has multiplicity of departments.
Yes, so you would want to give different headings, and the headings will help the person reading to maneuver and understand.
Okay then. All right, questions to guide in the writing of your report. Does the report have a heading or a title and the date?
Does it indicate to whom the report is addressed?
Does it indicate the person who is writing the report?
Is the information logically arranged?
Is the language formal?
So students, you can use these as questions to guide how you write your report. So once you have written your report, you can go ahead, ask yourselves these questions, and once you have them correctly answered, once you can answer them, then
what this simply means, students, is that if your answer to these questions each isn't yes, then you are not writing a proper report.
Good.
All right, so we have with us now a sample. So, Sharika, can you walk them through?
Okay, so again, you will have your address. So, for example, Brickfield High School, Kimberley Drive, 16 June 2004. Then you have your inside address. And again, the principal, so this would have been the person to whom the report is being addressed.
Notice, for this report, we do not know the name of the person. We don't know the name of the principal, so we only give the title.
But if you know the name of the person, then it is important for you to give the name. Brickfield High School, Kimberley Drive. Sir, if you notice, we have our heading, our subject, report on incident on the recreation ground on June 15, 2004. This incident occurred on the school's recreation ground on 15 June 2004 at midday. The girls of Form 1 were engaged in a friendly cricket match with the girls of Form 2. Shane Williams, a student of Form 4, and Gary Moore, a student of Form 3, entered the field and began heckling the girls. As Sasha, one of the players ran to take a catch, Shane ran towards her, tripped her, and caused her to fall. Her mouth struck Shane's boots and began to bleed. Gary tried to stop the bleeding with his handkerchief, but he failed. Mr. Roger Payne, the sports master, was called to assist. He took Sasha to the hospital where she was treated. By a nurse in the casualty department. Mr. Payne then took her home for the rest of the day. An explanation was given to the parents of Sasha as to the cause of the accident. The sports master, Mr. Payne, is conducting an investigation of the incident. Yours truly, Ben Collymore, Prefect.
And this report was taken from the Comprehensive English course, the New Revised Edition, page 210.
Okay, so just a gentle reminder. We are looking at exposition, and just to note that we use exposition every day in both speech and writing. So it's not just in when you get to exam or say, for example, CSEC English A and Section B, you will be looking at exposition. We're engaged in exposition every day, Miss Lindsay.
It is a skill that we use, as Sharika said, every day to conduct business or even personal life. And it is a practical skill that we all should endeavor to have.
Every day, because guess what? Every day we give information. We explain things to our friends every day. We describe. So when you see your friends and you say, come here, not teacher, let me tell you something, and you start giving information, then you are engaging in exposition.
All right, quickly, the no-nos of expository writing. Please do not use the word reason. The reason I do this in any part of the essay. Do not use the word you. Do not piggyback words, meaning do not repeatedly use them throughout the essay.
Good, and remember that the information should be factual. Okay.
Clear and concise. Please, students, I want you to do a self-check, just quite on your own terms. Take out your papers and see what you remember from this lesson.
Okay, and in closing, we're going to be reminding you of the 5 P's.
Proper preparation
prevents
poor performance. School's not out, but that's all, folks.
That's all for today. You can catch a repeat of today's lesson on JNN later at 5 p.m. and in School's Not Out highlights on Saturday between 1 and 4 p.m.
It also will be on video on demand on onespotmedia.com. I am Natisha Lindsay.
And I am Sharika Powell Easy. See you next time. Right on top.
Lessons here on TVJ. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, along with TVJ, present Schools Not Out, CSEC and CAPE lessons live Mondays to Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, with weekly Schools Not Out tutorial sessions on Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Schools Not Out, live CSEC and CAPE lessons here on TVJ. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, along with TVJ, present Schools Not Out, CSEC and CAPE lessons live Mondays to Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, with weekly Schools Not Out tutorial sessions on Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Schools Not Out, live CSEC and CAPE lessons here on TVJ. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, along with TVJ, present Schools Not Out, CSEC and CAPE lessons live Mondays to Fridays from